Go? I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me again on another Conscious Evolution. It's hot today, I'm noticing. And the scarf is not wet, so it's just adding heat at this moment. I'm gonna quickly go and add some water to it, just for my own sanity's sake, for me to stay under the temperature of hot. Ah, today's stream topic is about being of service, essentially, but more as it relates to the honor that is being of service. Wow, that's loud. Some reason the water I got was super hot, so I'm quickly just gonna add some airflow over it so it can cool down again. Yes. Give your heat to the environment. That'll do it. Nice. Hey, Connor. What a pleasure, bro. Seeing you here today. Really is nice to have you here with us, friend. Today's stream topic is about the honor that is making the world a better place. And what an honor it is to be given the opportunity to. This weekend felt very much like one of those where I was shown that if I find myself in the correct environment, I can do so much to be helpful. Right? That's like essentially the gist of it. That all of us want to be helpful in this world. I believe, at least, all of us want to be helpful. And not everybody gets to be, right? Especially not in a world where more and more stuff will be done by robotics. So it's an honor to be helpful. It's an honor to be able to make the world a better place. In whatever way it is you're doing that right now, know that it is appreciated. Even if that making the world a better place is just you serving yourself by making sure you're sleeping enough, making sure you're exercising, drinking water. Hey, Tommy, it's nice seeing you again, friend. After a long time, has been a while. I have changed. I have become a different person once again. Mr. Luke is here too. Is it Luke? Mr. Merkabasnik? It is Luke, right? I met another Luke this weekend again. You get what you give. This is true. This is true. What have I been giving a lot of? Hmm. I want to say appreciation. Have I been giving a lot of appreciation? I think I've been appreciating you, friends, for a long time, at the very least. But I don't know if I think that's the right thing to attach. Because I'm thinking about it from the perspective of your hair. It's weird now. My hair is weird. My hair did get cut again. It's true. It's true. Boom. Now it's even more Kramered. Making lunch. Yep, I'm Luke. Bless ya. We have Yum Yum Burger. Yum Yum Burger is 6 years old. I hope. I don't know if I hope that is. I was gonna say I hope that's not true, but I don't know if I really hope that that's not true. It's more the fact that a 6-year-old can have access to YouTube. That's the thing that's really boggling my brain. I had access to YouTube as a 6-year-old as well, technically. Was it YouTube though? Yeah. No. Hey Google, when did YouTube start being a thing? Yes. Yeah, 2005. Technically, I was 7 years old. But I don't know if I was using YouTube right from the get go. How are you going? I'm going well. I'm going well. 10 viewers on YouTube. Nice. Yeah, it's true, Tommy. We do have a few friends here watching today. It's a blessing. It's nice having you here too. It's weird now. A bless again. I appreciate you for showing up every day. Thank you, Connor. Right? It is an honor. It is an honor for me to try, at the very least, and make the world a better place through this medium as well. That in that way, right? Not all of you might be able to be here every single day, but I decided to be. And on that day that you feel you need this space, you can rely on the fact that it'll be here for you at a certain period of time, right? And if you missed it today, then you can rely on it being here again tomorrow. I'm going at 7. Wow, cherish being 6 and become a god amongst men. Yes, it's true, little one, right? And this is in part why I am intimidated by the fact of your 6-year-oldness, because there's a bunch of things that I would like for you to understand as a 6-year-old. One of them is your being God amongst menedness, right? Because you are still susceptible enough, open enough, uninfluenced enough by the world to really understand that there is no separation, right? I think at least. I think at least. Or is it the other way around? Right? Me as a 6-year-old was very much a part of the world, right? Like I was very satisfied with the experience of experience, just going through the world to see what kind of is, right? Thinking about it from the perspective of being exploratory, like walking around in a space and finding new things. And trying to bring this back. Subscribe, everybody. Thank you. Yum Yum Burger. I appreciate you standing. You're the only one that has listened to me. Yum Yum. I feel that, friend. It is hard sometimes to find people that will give us the time of day. But again, right, this is still the kind of thing that I'm stuck on. It's just thinking about, yeah, you write well for 6. I mean, you'd be surprised how smart 6-year-olds are. I think that's the thing for me, right? It's like I feel 6 is around that age when your consciousness just starts switching on and you're like aware of stuff, like information exchange, right? Being noticed is definitely a part of it. I'm going 7. Bless. Subscribe, everybody. Imagine knowing what you know now, then going back to 6 years old to relive and change the past. That is literally what I'm imagining, Connor. And I'm trying to, from that imagination, share information that would be helpful to our 6-year-old friend. I have like, I have liked and subscribed to you. Thank you, Yam Yam. That's so nice. I would be stressing. Will I be stressing? Jeebs. Like being a 6-year-old now, like I mean it's rough being a 26-year-old. I'm 2 decades older than you are. I'm going on 27. So I'm turning 27 and you're turning 7, if that is the truth. And it's a trip, right? It's a trip to me. I'm like 2 decades your elder. And still it's like, oh wow, this universe is wild and maybe too much sometimes. And it's only gonna get more wild and more much in the meanwhile. Right? When 20 years pass, it's going to be the year 2045. It's going to be the year 2045 by the time you're my age. What the hell? That's so absurd. You were born in freaking 2019 if you're actually a 6-year-old, or maybe 2018, which is still bow bunkers to my brains. Stay aware, friend. That's the only thing that you can really be told to stay aware. And you might be like, what does aware mean? Aware means to notice, right? Aware means to, if you have like a piece of burger sauce, since you like burgers, if you have burger sauce on your face, right, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you see that burger sauce and you go, oh, right? That's what awareness is. And that awareness can extend beyond just this physical body. That awareness can extend into the words you choose to use when speaking to your parents or friends. That awareness can extend into the things you do, the art, the fascination with information, the extent to which you want to explore this world, right? The things that you find yourself drawn to. As long as you stay aware, I believe things are going to go well for you, right? And awareness is one of those things that feels like you cannot not have it, but it is one of those things that's almost like a dial, like a filter, right? You might be aware enough to survive, but you might not be aware enough to live in that way as well, right? And in that, it is important for us to stay as aware as we can manage. Keep your eyes wide open, friend. Where are you going to? I'm still here. I ain't going anywhere. I show up here every single day. If you see me kind of getting antsy, it's because I'm holding this little piece of metal. Interesting little piece of metal this is, right? And the fact that you're 6 years old, or at least you're telling me you're 6 years old, has me like parsing, has me like asking questions about my responsibility. If I was six again, I'd be a menace. Too many options and too many truths. Oh yeah, don't believe you me. That is the way it is. Imagine knowing what you know now. Again, bless you, bro. It's true. Too many options. Burger. My name is Long, not the name Long. My name is Long. Yam Yam Burger is a long name. It's not that long. Damn, I remember turning 21 on here. We got unk status. Yeah, see, Connor. It's rough, like, especially when I say it in terms like that, right? Like, if a person is now 6 years old, it's going to have to be the year 2045 for them to be as old as I am right now. Right? Like, you say those words and you're like, oh, jeez, what the fuck? 2045, I'll be 47. I'll be a 47-year-old man. Ideally looking just as strapping, just as young of a lad. Yes, ideally the immortality tech has already started kicking in. How about that, Mr. 6-year-old? We live in a world where we might not have to die, right? And if anything, let's think of it more as you might be able to choose not to. You can just be like, nah, actually, I don't want to die of cancer. And then we gene edit you until you don't. Tuners, you got uncle status. Joe, I know, I'm 24 now. You've earned it, homie. It's true. You've survived, bro. The real thing, I don't like burgers. Yam Yam Burger doesn't like burgers. That is a dichotomy. I I do like French fries, he says. That's crazy, Burger. What do you like? French fries. Grandpa Mel. Don't start grandpaing me, bro. Please. My poor dispositions. Hey Google. Hey Google. Define dispositions. A person's inherent qualities of mind and character. Yes, please. My poor dispositions, dude. If I have to consider myself a grandpa, my dispositions will have to shift. We're even cooler. You friends are hilarious. Are we never as cool as we think? It is true. It is actually true. I consider myself actually pretty uncool. But that's because I'm extremely awkward. At least I am to myself. It's like I am this operatable machine, and I am sometimes like spastic with the buttons that I press. And there are a few buttons on my user interface that are like really big, so I keep pressing them over and over again. And one of those buttons would be saying, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's one of my buttons. I think you're a cool dog. Thank you, Connor. Thank you. I think it is one of those things where if you really think you're cool, then you're actually not. So maybe I have that cool of not thinking I'm cool, right? Being willing to admit my own fault, my own awkwardness is a part of the cool appeal or something. We have friends that more than most. I think you're pretty cool too, huh? You friends. Definitely cooler than our lack of self appreciation when we're feeling that. It's true. You have friends that more than most. You have friends that know more than most. We have Muskan and Lady R here too. Hi, friends. It's nice having you here today with us again. Today's stream topic has been about the honor in being of service. The honor that there is in making the world a better place. That you have the ability as a human being to show up and to help people. And if you weren't there in that world for them to be helped by you, the world would be a worse place just because you didn't exist. I'm getting asked, how am I? Lady R. Lady R. Woo! I'm good. I'm good right now. I'm feeling that sense of almost like I want to use the word euphoria, but I don't think exactly euphoria is the right word. If there is a word for when the plane lands and you feel that tension, that stress of is it actually going to make it to the ground? And then that relief that washes over you as soon as you touch the ground, that's kind of the feeling I'm feeling. And I think I did technically say it, relief, right? I feel relieved. I feel like I was of service and I now get to feel good about that. I get to be like, ah, good. I have I have been bestowed the honor of being helpful. And hey, get away from my stuff, you freaking creatures. It's a wonderful thing to be selfless. I don't think I was selfless this weekend, Lady R. I don't think I was selfless. But I don't know if I was selfish, right? Because there was a lot of self in the experience, but it was like I was giving myself to the others, right? Where selfishness can be like a kind of hoarding, like keeping things for yourself. Where maybe I was self-full, right? Instead of selfish, I was self-full. I felt like the self that I am was fulfilled in being that. And it felt like an honor to be the self that I am in the world, right? More selfish. Selfishest here, friend. Definitely the cooler, definitely cooler than our lack of self appreciation when we're feeling that is true again. Bro's humble by calling himself humble. Stillness and self awareness is the combo that we seek. It's true. Stillness is one that's hard to manage in this world, especially when we're surrounded by other things that don't necessarily shame the same intent to be still right now. And in that way, it's like we have to still our minds because our environments will never be as still as we want them to be. And a still mind just looks like one that is living in a state of acceptance, I find. Doesn't mean you're not aware and that you're not like having some sort of inner dialogue about your life, but it is about having that dialogue from a very mature perspective of like, oh yeah, this too. This too is a part of our reality right now, a part of the experience we're here to have. And then the stillness is almost like a settlement that happens in yourself. Right? It's like jumping in a pool early in the morning during winter. You're not really shocked that the water is cold. It's more something you accept. You can still be like, "Oh, it's cold." Oh, you can go through all of that experience, but it's not something you're offended by necessarily or shocked by. You might be shocked by the actual cold feeling on your skin, but not by the fact of its coldness. And that's maybe the way we should see the stillness aspect of our minds as well, is that we are metaphorically jumping into the cold pool that is society, that is our reality. And in that way, we are allowed the shock that comes with being exposed to information that we might not have been ready for or might not want to know about our reality. But then again, in the acceptance of everything, including cold water when it's early morning and in winter, you realize that there is an ebb and flow to this experience, right? There are correlations to everything, to literally everything, to every good thing, to every bad thing. There are correlations. There are things underneath the things still. And when we really boil it down all the way, love is still true, right? Because none of those correlations would have been allowed to exist if love wasn't first. If there wasn't two people loving one another to bring a person into the world, even if that person might end up being a serial killer, love was still true. Love was still true enough to take care of that person their whole lives. Looking at these doggos playing next to me. Relax first. Susan and Marak. It's nice having you here. It's nice seeing your name. Hope you're doing well, friend. Let us know if you have something to share. I like my onions roasted. Hmm. Like if onions are roasted and they start forming that black charredness, then all I can think is carcinogens. And I don't know if I like that much. I like my onions caramelized, but not too much as well. Again, same reasons. Okay, silliness and self-awareness is the cover that we see. Let's again. I love to help people. Myself, it's true. You are people too, right? And if you want to help people, then it is important for you to start with yourself. And the self-help looks like, loving yourself enough to take care of your diet, to take care of your exercise, to take care of your sleep as much as you can, right? Actually trying is more than you can hope for, to say it in that many words, right? Not many people are actually trying right now. So just by actually trying, you're already doing more for yourself than the average, right? And it's not about transcending as much as it's about giving yourself that something extra, being of service to yourself too, right? Acknowledging that there is value in being of service. There is definitely hierarchy in this world, right? And there's no use in pretending that that's also not something that we're contending with. But at the same time, despite the hierarchy, there is one thing in common, and that is service, right? The kind of service might be different, and the amount of service in the different roles technically is very much dependent on the individual, right? Where the wealthy among us are of service to humanity in their pushing us towards technological progress, in their bringing to us as normal people products that improve our quality of life, right? That is the service that they provide to us as a species. And the species that is all of us, right? The service that we all have towards one another is, in my mind, very much the emotional, right? No matter what workplace you find yourself in, there is still very much a human dynamic, emotional, getting along to do something, getting each other on the same page aspect to everything that it is we do. And it is hard to convince people of things, right? It's very hard to convince people of things. And money uh, is very much a tool that is good at convincing because it's been given so much importance in our world. I'm trying to imagine how we can better correlate the service that is being a support network and value, right? Because I've been made starkly aware of the value that there is in community. That this conclave experience we had this weekend was begotten by a community. He joined Annika and Tinas's, place. We went there so many times. You friends saw me there over and over again on Wednesdays, right? That was the join. And then suddenly there's a freaking, drum and bass party happening there. And the reason that I was allowed, that I was given the opportunity to do visuals is because I went to the joint, right, with the intent of being a part of that community, with the intent of connecting with those people. And because I connected with them and I shared with them my ambition to do visuals for festivals, and I was given the opportunity, luckily, to actually do mapping for White Rabbit. And I had a +1 ticket that I actually could invite Nantes to, the co-owner of the conclave. And then things just so happened to work out. And again, right, I feel like the conclave was like one of my most battle tested experiences ever. Because the very first conclave event that we did, things didn't go perfectly for me. Because literally we get there the night before the actual event happens, and we get everything set up and the projector is working and all of, and we basically go to sleep. Next morning down, gets booted up, and like there is a electric spike happening. I shh, 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 I shh, 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 shh. Please, I need some quiet. Shh. Uh-uh. So the day of, literally the morning, there's already like the intention for the DJ to come online. There's an energy spike, and my PC is dead. Right, like dead, dead. Like I press the button and nothing happens. Dead. And that is a problem because it is a box computer. So if your box computer is like dead to the point where the power button doesn't do anything, you have a problem. And it's not, and again, this is like 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. The first DJ is going on 10 a.m. And I'm like flabbergasted. I'm like, how is this? How is this real? This is literally, I say to myself, this is literally worst case scenario. This right here. Whatever could have happened that was the worst was this. And it happened. And then we made a plan. We went back home. We fetched two other PCs. We borrowed a PC from Anneke and Tines. At least I was professional enough to back up all of my media onto an external SSD alongside it being on my PC that was running all of the media for the festival. So none of it was lost in that way. So I could just transfer all of the media to three different computers. So I had my one box PC running the projector and running the two LEDs screens. And suddenly I had to like transition from that one PC setup to three laptops on the table at the same time, right? All of them doing something else. One of them doing the projector, one of them doing the middle screen, one of them doing the side screens. And it really was this experience of, even in the worst case scenario, oh wow, it's a beautiful lizard with a blue tail. I would try and show you, but it's going to be too far away. This experience of showing myself that even in the worst case scenario, I'll be okay. And then this was now the second event, right? And technically, this is the third event that I did visual work for, when I made them these whole media pieces. And it is an honor, right, to be asked to do work again for people that actually value you like that. And for them to have seen me go through that experience, right? Because that's the first thing that I did, is I told Morris my PC is dead, right? And the amount of understanding he had, he was like, okay, bro, like, what else can we do? Can we like get something online on YouTube? Like that's literally something, like I think he said something like that. Like maybe we can just get some media behind the DJs in the meanwhile. And I'm like, oh no, I don't have to worry about that. I have all of the media backed up. And like seeing him go through that sense of relief, and me being relieved, and even in me, him thinking I catastrophically failed, him being compassionate and okay, and like stable, setting the space, and me, you know, kind of like spiraling, being caught by him as well. The opportunity to, work with people like that is really, it's an honor. It is an honor. It truly is. We're powerful together. Monkey together, strong. Monkey together is so strong. We can do really cool stuff. We can change the world. Literally, like on my actuaries. Oh, Jovan. Jovan gifting memberships. So sweet. I love ya. Joy Vive got membership up. Lowazana, Kiefer, Dream Tooth, K-Bay, and Goo. I think that's literally a 100%er, Joe. Is that what the Royal Flush? Yeah, Royal Flush, literally just like bap, 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 bap. Friends we know. Love is true. Thank you, Joe, for blessing our friends with memberships too. I love to relax. Relaxing is good for you. Think I missed a few comments above. Love myself. Good. I'm most helpful when I have given myself time to remember how much love I have, and I pour some on myself before interacting in the world. This is a good way to do it. Having two poppers always makes the day so much better. It's true. I miss my pops. Sending them love. Sending you love too, bro. Hope you get to be close to them soon. You're not supposed to manage stillness or oneness. Maybe not. But don't let my inner dialogue know about that. We are aware of our own usefulness, and yet we are also aware of our own uselessness. And so we stumble and fumble through the thing we call life. It's a beautiful oxygen. Beautiful accident, just being here. I think, uh, even though what you're saying is true, it is again a matter of where you are, right? Because in a world where what you provide is something that is truly useful, very much so from the perspective of the other person doesn't want to do that, and the fact that you can is something that they're more than willing to reward you for, right? Like one of the things that happened this weekend is that I did technically, for me, it was very much about the DJ still in the actual visuals. So I would have their name as like a center point for most of the festival. But with that, there was also moments where Morris would come and ask me to take the visual of the DJ's name off of the screen because he wanted to see the visuals. The visuals were more important to him than just the big old DJ name. And it's this dichotomy, right? Like where I feel really good about that. And that's technically the way I would want it as well. But at the same time, I wanted the DJs to have their, you know, moment in the sunlight, having their name big old, in bold letters behind them. It makes you feel cool too, right? It's like that affirmation of like, yeah, this is what I am, this is who I am, right? Witness me kind of experience. Yeah. Where is I going with that? Usefulness? Yes. Yes. You can be useful technically in some ways by being less useful technically in others. Right? And it doesn't matter of perspective. And it's very much a matter of who you're helping. How do I start meditation? I've been trying to get into my schedule, but I always push it off. I want to be able to control my thoughts more and make it easier to control myself in certain situations. So, in that case, Connor, you're very much set up to do. Silence, please. You're very much set up to just do normal meditation. And normal meditation to me is like mindfulness meditation. And it basically looks like you going and sitting down, right? I like this posture or like this. That's to me most comfortable. If you want to do like some extra meditation stuff, you can do that as well. But essentially, it's just about finding yourself seated, comfortable enough, and then being present, right? Zazen is like meditating with your eyes open. So you don't even have to close your eyes. And then you just breathe. It really does feel almost like arbitrary, but it is an exercise, right? That to me is meditation. And that exercise basically consists of I want to be aware of my breath. And then in that awareness, you breathe with awareness, right? Consciously. And then you'll find yourself drifting. You'll find yourself starting to think about something. As you said, you want to control your thoughts. The point is not to control your thoughts. The point is to find yourself thinking and then be able to bring yourself back to breathing. And then you're like, oh, I'm thinking again. Let me just consciously breathe instead. And then you do that, and then you'll find yourself getting lost again in thought. And then as soon as you catch yourself, you bring yourself back to breath. And in that way, your meditation as an exercise is like you doing like curls, where it's like every time you find yourself drifting away, you pull yourself back to breath. And then you drift away, and then you pull yourself back to breath. Drift away, pull yourself back to breath. And then on your, I want to be able to control my thoughts, that exercise, that ebb and flow that you get good at, is going to arise in your normal life as well, right? Maybe you're in traffic and some person cuts you off. Then, in the same way, you get into a spiral of thoughts, right? How dare this person? They could have scratched my car or killed me or. And then, in the same way, it's like the exercise of breath. Like, actually, let me just consciously breathe a little bit. And then before you know it, you're thinking about something else again. All right. So that is what meditation is. And in that way, you don't have to, life can be a meditation, right? That's what they mean when they say life is meditation. It's that noticing yourself spiraling and then coming back to conscious breathing. It's a mindfulness exercise. You're staying mindful of what's happening here and here everywhere. So yeah, I hope that that gave you what you were looking for, Connor. You're already meditating, bro. Taking some time out of your day helps because it allows you to spiral all of those thoughts that you want to control in that controlled environment. And then you get to show yourself how you can bring yourself back from them. And then when you go into your world, it's almost like you've already processed a lot of the stuff that you usually almost have in the back of your mind. And it gives you a little bit more freedom to think about other things. Right? Gives you some mental real estate. Got to go to work. Oh, jeebs. Of course, Connor leaves before he gets to hear any of this. Well, bless him. Bless him. All of us got to hear it instead. Trust is a better tool. It's a good one. Have a good one. Love's true. Okay. I feel like you just contradicted yourself. I contradict myself all the time. Hoopy. I feel like at this point, it's a part of my human experience. I don't know if it's necessarily the most professional thing to be, self contradictory. But I try not to for the most part. But jeeps, uh, I'm very far from perfect. Finding such lessons in community and continue sharing it. It's important. It really is important. And I'm learning that lesson from all directions, Poopy. Breath is meditation. Yep, the ebb and flow, in and out, like the tides of the ocean. It's true. There is so much for us to think about. Giving ourselves a moment to not is rare. That other nug is a piece of strawberry fields. I do not know what this nug is, but it smells kind of like peanut butter. All right. I think it might be time for me to finish the vertical live stream. I think I'm going to show you a flower and read you a poem first, and then I'm going to say goodbye and start up the horizontal one next. Yeah, there's a big Joe message. Being a walking contradiction is part of the learning process. We aren't perfect, and we aren't nearly as good as we expect ourselves to be. It's a trial process that we learn about as we traverse. That being good thing is definitely something that I'm very much aware of as well. That was a conversation that came up a few times this weekend of talking about whether or not we're a good person. And there were a few moments where I admitted that I don't really think I am a good person, right? And it again is a matter of perspective where there are people that are willing to, you know, take the shoes off of their own feet to give to another person because they see them without shoes, right? And from that lens, that would be a good person. And I don't know if I am. I don't know if I am that good a person. I met a person like that this weekend, Reese. He does stuff like that. All right. Oh, he did. He did stuff like that. He went to India to become like a proper yogi, and there was like he said it was months where he was just like walking the beaches shoeless because he had given his shoes away months ago to a person who didn't have any. And it really is this perspective shift of what we consider good, right? The good that I consider myself to be is a person that gives something that's not shoes, right? I try to give love, I try to give attention, I try to give presence, I try to give consideration, I try to give compliments, I try to give upliftment and excitement for the future. I try to give hope and love and art and beauty. I try to give a sense of stability and balance to the ones who come to me. I try to make people feel calm and at peace, at least in the ways that I can manage. Right, and it is a difficult experience balancing the parts of you that you think are bad with the parts of you that you know are good, right? Because again, the stuff you think is bad is the stuff you've been told is. And there are some things that we can all agree upon, right? Like killing another person is bad, don't do that. Uh, but at the other side of it, there is the fractal of, you know, living in an abandoned building, right? According to our world, that is also wrong, right? Also an illegal thing to do. You're not allowed to live in my abandoned building. You're trespassing or whatever, right? Like where are we pulling our lines from, right? Like there are some things that we can all agree upon, but there are so many things that at this point in our experience, we all agree that things need to be differently, and we still find ourselves going down the same kind of rabbit holes, having the same troubles being good people. Huh? Being good people. What does that mean? It means again, at least to some extent of me, this this entity that just opens their wallets and opens their homes doors and opens their kitchen tables, dinner tables, and opens their their lives too. But it's so hard for us to come to that conclusion. Right? And again, it is a financial fractal because the individual because there's just so much that would be expected of them, relatively speaking. It's hard enough for one person to take care of themselves in this world, right? For one person to take care of another, and then another, and then another still, right? At what point are you a good person? At what point are you no longer yourself? And this is not me going down a rabbit hole of woe is myself for all of the things that we've been giving, right? I hope at least that that's not the conclusion that is being projected. It's more a matter of do I have to be better? And what does that look like? For me, weirdly enough, being better right now at this point in my life just looks like being even harder working, doing more to network, doing more to connect with people, doing more to reach out and ask for help, ask for work. But again, on the other side, there's a part of our inner dialogue and societal dialogue as well that makes you a bad person if you do that, right? If I start going down the list of numbers I have on the group that I've been added to, and I start calling them, asking them if they want to buy some art, is that a good thing to do? It's something better I can do for myself, again, right? For my life, for the progress of my career potentially. But is it a good thing to do for them? Again, there's the other side of it where the one person that will want art in their lives will have, rather, value added to their experience by my reaching out. But to the person that is just going to be annoyed by some dude calling them about art, they will have their experience not having not added value to their experience, instead having maybe pissed them off, ruined their Sunday. And there's a spider doing a thing. Very cool. It's building its web right now. I'll show you friends a little bit later if I remember. I'm gonna open this chat quickly. Melty, you're a blessing to some of us. Bless, bro. You're a blessing to me. Your contribution is appreciated. Love is true. Money is money is the everlong heartbeat of a creature seeking comfort. If we're not financially sound, then we are lacking in our ability to enjoy. It's weird. You like peace? It only costs X dollars. Exactly. Exactly. And for me, I'm pretty at peace, right? I won't feel at peace if I have a 1 kilogram bar of gold in my closet, right? That won't bring me peace. Hey Google, what does 1 kilogram of gold cost in dollars right now? 92,000 US dollars, right? And there are people on planet Earth right now. Like, let's just all sit down and think about this for a moment. There are people on planet Earth right now that have that as their goal. They have that as their I'm going to feel at peace. If I can acquire a kilogram bar of gold, then I have this wealth that cannot be manipulated as easily, right? And then I'll feel at peace. So all I need is $92,000 to feel that at peaceness. Where if I had that exact same 92,000 US dollars, the way I would apply the peace would be by buying a bunch of solar. Not even a bunch, relatively speaking, it would be 2,500 US dollars worth of solar, about 10,000 US dollars worth of batteries, and another, let's say, $3,000 for inverters and cabling, right? That means I spend what 17% of the 1 kilogram gold bar. Then I would buy myself an electric vehicle. All right, maybe the cheapest one I can get in South Africa right now is like $25,000, 27,000 dollars. So now I spend like close to half of the 92 grand. And then I'll spend the rest on basically just building myself a mud hut. Like the solar setup basically is like a mini standalone garage with solar as a roof, charging into the batteries that has an EV charger for my car. And then I'll build myself a mud hut, an earthship essentially with the rest of that money. And then I would have created all of those metrics of peace for myself, right? Like, good. My energy comes from the sun. The excess energy that I have that can't go into my home batteries goes into my car. If I need to go anywhere, I can drive using that stored energy, and I can come back home, right? to rest my head after a long day. And then there will probably still be money left as well, right? Then it's so crazy how this kilogram bar of gold can hold such different value. Bless you. Can hold such different value, relatively speaking, because there's people that have a bunch of them in their closet, right? They just have a bunch of these little bars of yellow metal that's in their closet that could radically change a person's life. And I'm not suggesting that they should give their gold bars away, right? That's not my thing. That's not the point I'm trying to make. Point I'm trying to make is what brings us peace. All right, what actually brings us peace? Being helpful is a good one, at least to me. There are a lot of ways to be helpful. Kristen, bless your friends. Nice seeing you here. I don't agree, but I'm smiling. You're smiling. What's the trespass? I don't understand either. I remember saying the word trespass with the whole living in an abandoned building, right? Because again, maybe there are homes fully abandoned right now. Maybe I say there's definitely homes fully abandoned right now. And if I'm a person that is without a home, right, I'm wandering the streets right now, and I come across a building where the grass is like overgrown, and I look inside and there's nothing inside, it's just standing empty. And I make my way inside that home, and I can buy myself a bed, and I can buy myself a couch, and I can buy myself solar panels and batteries, and I can start cutting the lawn with my energy. I buy myself an electric lawnmower eventually, and then I start landscaping that area, right? Like that's literally all of those things are illegal by our current system. But that person literally will have their life saved by that home. The home will have its life saved by that person. Value will be added to that space by someone living there and actually trying to take care of it, taking some pride in having a space. And with the world, we're going to see a population collapse in our lifetimes, right? Like there will literally be less people on planet Earth 50 years from now than there are right now, which is a big deal. That's a really big deal. Like I don't think it's, I mean, you've probably heard people talk about it, but the implications of that is quite radical. Everything breaks. Everything the way we understand it right now breaks, if that is the case. All right, which is pretty pretty stark, pretty intramasstring. We will have to find new ways to do things, right? And taking care of our spaces might be breathing life into our spaces, might be the best use case for human beings. Helping, being kind, holding love, giving love, these things bring comfort. And all of those things are services. Helping is a service, being kind is you being of service to the heart, holding love, servicing, giving love, service, these things is true. We are fishers of men because we understand what it can do for a single life. Small things perpetuate large things. Everything stacks on top of something else, right? And I feel like that's unfortunately where a lot of us have it pretty hard right now, is that we don't have the same kind of stability, same kind of like structure, same kind of support that we might have expected before. Makes things pretty hard. Small things perpetuating larger things and so on. Yeah. I appreciate your friends for joining me. I'm going to show you a flower and then say you a goodbye after reading your poem. Let's see. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Snowballs of love. Holding them so tight they melt through your fingers. Yes. And the poem went something like this: a coin of appreciation. You don't need a fortune to make someone feel rich. A coin of appreciation flipped just right lands heads up in their hearts. Shiny, simple, worth more than gold. A nod, that's currency. A hey, I see you, straight up treasure. A laugh at their bad joke, jackpot. It's wild how little it takes. A spare second, a spare word, tossed like a lucky penny into someone's day, and boom, whole moods shifts, whole world tilts. You don't gotta buy a castle, just build a moment. Spend your kindness like it's free, because it is. Yet, it makes people feel priceless. It's cool how it just so happens that the topics do kind of melt one into the other. It's almost like we've been doing this on infinitum. My battery is on 34% on there, 43% on there. Yes. The synchronicities flow through me. I love you. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me. I think I'm missing a few comments. Before I say goodbye, I'll make sure to absorb them. Heard of the spotlight effect? It's a psychological. I think I have heard of that. Talk to yourself like you talk to someone you love. Love givers have a hard time doing this sometimes, but practice makes perfect. It's true. And you do show up for the practice, yeah. I know that we're going to be good at this. I'll take this gold. I'll take his gold if he doesn't want it. A 1 kilogram bar of gold. I would lie if I said that it wouldn't bring me some level of satisfaction being able to have a 1 kilogram bar of gold, right? There would be like some goblin in me that's like, I probably would be like that. But it would like stay. I would be a goblin for like maybe maximum 2 weeks. And then I'll be like, yeah, let me buy things that will actually make my life better, right? Instead of holding on to a piece of yellow metal. Yes, yellow metal is nice. So heavy. What can you do with it? Nothing, essentially. Literally nothing. It's useful for very little. It's a worse conductor than silver. Did you know that? Very few people know that. I had like a whole thing with Christian. We were talking about metals, and we were talking about the uselessness of it. And I go, yo, bro, like it's not even the best conducting metal. Silver has it beat. And he goes, is that true? And I'm like, yeah. And I see him whip out his phone and he Googles, which is the most conductive metal. And it's like, silver. And I'm like, yeah, I know this, bro. Like, I think gold is better because it doesn't corrode as much or something like that for like space. It's a little bit more corrosion resistant for like ports, having to plug something in and out a bunch of times. But yeah, it's kind of, that's what like it's useful for. It's not that great. And yet, it's all-time high right now, huh? Hey Google, is gold at all-time high right now? Yeah. Yes, it is. How about that? Yellow metal. We've had it for so long. So long we've had these yellow metals for. I actually have like a whole thing that's been open as a tab in the back of my mind. I've been stuck thinking about this. A friend of mine told me that a bunch of companies are trying to collect as many metals as they can right now. That includes gold, and that includes the whole price of gold spiking right now as well, because the whole world is gearing up for the next nuclear revolution, right? Small modular reactors are going to be the next thing. It's going to be all the hype. And apparently, and I don't know if this is true, and this is what I need your help on, there is like a pre-nuclear age quality to metal thing, right? I don't know exactly how that works, and I want you to explain it to me if there is in fact something to that. Does more nuclear energy actually affect the quality of our metals, making it weaker or something like that? Hmm. We're going into the nuclear age actively right now. A coin of appreciation is the simplistic response to a broken soul. We are here to love one another in a world where joy is fleeting. We are love personified, brother. Progress, not perfect. Perfection is the enemy of progress. There it is, Joe. Love that. I was gushing over the origami yesterday, and feels nice to connect to that too. So the origami teacher we had reminded us that perfection is the enemy of progress, and that practice makes progress. Jovan got that juju as the happy moments when she speaks. It's true. We are not broken, but whole, and are becoming even more. Dear Jaju, you and me, kiddo, we're gonna have a few moments. Absolutely. More and more so, the world really is unfolding in front of us actively. We are living in the future, friends. This is the future. We're in the future right now. How about that? You might be watching this even more in the future. If you're living in America, you definitely are watching this from even more of the future. But things are going to radically change really quickly. There's a lot of money being poured into the technology right now. Robotics, semiconductors, topo conductors. Even we figured out quantum computing. Thanks, Microsoft. That's cool. Things are gonna get pretty wacky pretty quick. Okay, it's a myth. Nice. There's no scientific basis for the idea that metals produced or mined after the advent of nuclear energy are inherently worse or weaker than those from the pre nuclear era. Let's break down the main points. The myth of pre nuclear metals. Some folks have floated the notion that metals mined before nuclear testing or the nuclear revolution have a unique, superior quality. In reality, metals like gold, copper, or iron are defined by their atomic structure and purity. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, right? So I was like wondering if the extra nuclear energy was knocking atoms or like electrons off of their atom pairs and making it a worse metal, or making some parts of it a worse metal. That's what I was like trying to understand it as. Iron are defined by their atomic structure and purity, not by the era in which they were extracted. The pre-nuclear label is more of an urban legend than a scientifically supported phenomenon. How nuclear energy interacts with metals. Neutron radiation, you see, and reactor materials. Within a nuclear reactor, metals used in the construction of the reactor vessel and components can indeed suffer from neutron irradiation, which exposes this exposure can cause changes in the metal's microstructure, known as embrittlement. So literally what I just said. That's exactly what's happening, but it has to be close, I guess. Which is why reactor components are closely monitored and periodically replaced. However, this effect is localized to environments with intense neutron flux, literally inside the reactor, and doesn't extend to the bulk of the world's metal supply. Market driven metal qualities. In quality, the quality and price of metals like gold are driven by factors such as rarity, market demand, geopolitical uncertainty, and economic conditions, not by any subtle changes in atomic composition from nuclear activity. The recent spikes in gold prices, for instance, are more closely tied to global economic factors and investor sentiment rather than any shift in metal quality. In summary, there's no magic pre-nuclear quality. Good. You see, it's good that we have these fact-checking tools because my mind was like stuck on this whole thought. I was like, "Rrr." The idea that metals mined before the nuclear age are somehow superior isn't supported by material science. Local versus global effects. While neutron and radiation can affect metals within reactor cores, it doesn't degrade the quality of metals on the global market. Market dynamics rule. Metal prices and quality assessments are based on economic rather than nuclear factors. Yeah. Interesting. Well, good thing that I have technology to fact check before I embarrass myself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You and me, kiddo. Melty, I need to figure out how to get you here. I'm working on it. I'm working on it harder. I'm gonna be there before we know it, Joe. You don't worry, bro. You don't worry your heart. Love is true. Love is true. I'm trying not to use a wooden boat, but I could. Jovan saying, I saw a video of ferrofluid poured onto a magnet that was spinning on top of a superconductor. It was so satisfying. Ferrofluid is really cool. I want to have one of those little ferrofluid electromagnet live reacting to music kind of sensors. I could steal a sailboat and get you here. You just need fresh water and fishing poles. It's doable. Brother Bear, if I come to America, I would like to stay for a while. Right. And I don't know if they would try and deport me as readily as someone else, maybe, you know. But at the same time, I wouldn't really want to risk it. Right. And again, with all things considered, I probably won't have to. Right? It might take some time, but all things do. And once they have run their course, then we will see things through. Is flying. Bro, you need to give me some space. Bro. You need to really give me some space. Okay. I've intended to end this stream a while now. I'll say goodbye and I'll see you friends again on the next one. I'll do a short little horizontal stream. I love you friends. See you soon.